Two, three. Hey, how you doing? This is Gina Versa. It's another episode of Serving Up Comics, and I have a guest with me. We're gonna talk Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, among other things. But we've had him on last year during the writer strike episode. He did a great job. This is a good friend of mine, and also college alumnus, so that's cool.
Yes. You're right. We're right. Yeah.
Uh, well,
Every year it gets it's longer and longer away.
yeah, I know.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's like, was it how long ago was that?
Oh, it's 8 years, yeah. But
Mm.
yeah, welcome to the show, Jordan Mitchell. How you doing?
I mean, thank you so much for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to come and and add and contribute to the podcast. And I'm excited to dig in. I mean, DC is one of my favorite. I, and sometimes the movies aren't very good, and we'll get into that. But I still love talking about it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say I was telling someone like earlier yesterday that like being a DC fan is like I'm trying to think of like the right sports team.
yeah,
Like
right.
like a
Yeah,
the
like
Red
a
Sox or
it's like Spike Lee being
Knicks fan.
a Knicks fan. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like because you it's kind of like you see the potential and how
Mhm.
great this thing could be, and but everybody around you are like, no, they suck, and you're like, no, this is great. You just don't
Yeah.
understand, and then
Yeah.
they lose by 40.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
You
Or
know?
like, they have like three straight movies that just bomb at the
Yes,
box
yeah.
office.
You're like shit.
Yeah, this is like, was it? It was Shazam at the beginning of the year, The Flash,
Yeah, I mean,
Aquaman,
yeah,
Aquaman.
but I mean, I did not like Shazam
Yeah.
at all. And I was just talking to my cousin because I took my cousin and my sister to go see it, and it was so bad at the climax. We left at the climax. We didn't. I was like, "Do you guys want to leave?" And there was a birthday party that was happening around the same time, like a family birthday party that we left to go see Shazam because it was like a kids party. But we were like, "Yeah, let's leave a little bit early." And I didn't even get to see the Wonder Woman cameo, but I
Oh
I
yeah.
I did not care.
The second or third time she was in a DC movie that year in a cameo because she's
Yeah,
in
the
the Flash.
second it was the second one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she was in the Flash and yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I thought the Flash was the Justice the stuff in the beginning was kind of fun. I mean, I wish that and people talked about this in their reviews. I wish that the first 8 minutes of the Flash, even though it was kind of goofy with the CGI babies and all that, I wish that was the Justice League that we would have gotten this whole time. I wish that was a cinematic universe as kind
Mhm.
of goofy as it was. I wanted to see more of that world.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like I don't know. Yeah, we only see the Justice League of the DCEU or the previously known
Mhm.
universe like one or two times, like together, like one movie, another cut of a movie in the Flash, and like you never see them being the Justice.
Yeah. And it sucks because it's like there's so much. I mean, people who we know the storylines, we know the villains that they could have done, and look, they did a Flash movie, and there was no Flash villains in the Flash movie.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was gonna say someone pointed out how like when his mom is murdered, there's
Mhm.
nothing to tell you that that was Zoom. Like
No,
it could have just been the dad.
could have. Yeah, they didn't. It's like there was a draft. It's like, look, man, that script probably had so many different drafts and so
Yeah,
many different versions of and iterations and
yeah.
that there had to have been a version of that script where you know who killed his mom, but they just
Mhm.
left it out for some weird reason.
Yeah, it was that movie didn't feel like complete or that was
No,
just like that was the epitome of like everything DC this
that
year
was
was
wrong
like
with DC.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then Blue Beetle came,
Oh yeah,
and
that's right.
now that was pretty good. I enjoyed it for what it was, and then now recently Aquaman,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, it's like, dang, it's like, yo, remember the setup? Do you remember the promo that DC did? It didn't have, I don't remember.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a
yeah.
promo that The Rock posted, and it was like,
Yeah, I remember now.
because, yeah, because The Rock, and I don't want to get into The Rock and how
Yeah, it's
he
yeah.
was kind of co-instrumental in how and why the DC universe tanked, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
That was the crisis point. Black Adam. That was where the timeline changed.
yeah, because he thought he was gonna come in talking about, yeah, like what was the slogan that he was saying?
The
He was
hierarchy of power in
yes.
DC universe is about to
Yeah,
and
and
it,
I'll admit because look, he's a wrestling guy, so
Mhm.
he's good with promotion. I will
Yep,
give him that. I'm gonna give him his credit.
sure.
Guy works hard. Guy obviously works hard in the gym, and he puts it in with the diet and all that, and all the muscles and the
Mhm.
HG. But whatever he takes. But the hierarchy of power is going to change or whatever that was. That was a cool
Slogan.
slogan in that actually was cool, even though Black Adam isn't really that big of a character in the DC
Oh,
universe, but
agreed.
whatever.
Yeah,
But neither is Star Lord, and look what happened to him.
there you
Uh,
go. They
same.
tried, yeah, they tried to make Black Adam like a character, like a thing though, like with like was it the Last
Doomsday
Crisis?
Clock.
No, in like Dark Crisis, the crisis that they did.
I haven't read.
Oh,
So after, to me,
mm,
DC kind of stops for me
mm.
after Doomsday Clock.
Okay.
Everything kind of after that with Dark Crisis. I mean, and look, maybe it could be good. I'm not a Joshua Williams kind of necessarily like guy. I haven't heard that much about it that makes me interested. I mean, at least with Doomsday Clock, if you guys don't know what Doomsday Clock is, I would say Google it.
Mhm.
Um, but with that storyline, that seemed epic with the whole Watchmen and DC crossover. But I just, now I just go back to read. I mean, look, I'll show you what I'm reading right
Oh
now.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
reading.
let's get into
Oh,
that
it's
because
so heavy. Oh, you can't. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this is
yeah,
if I didn't have the blur on, it's
yeah,
Batman. It's inverted, but
by
it's
Grant.
Graham Morrison's Batman Omnibus.
That's amazing. I love
I
that.
have this is one of three, and I have all three. And I'm also reading I'm just reading off his Batman stuff. I just read his JLA run.
Oh, that's a good one. I was gonna say Grant's the probably the best like bat or I don't know, that's probably one of my favorite Batman runs, if not my favorite.
Yeah,
Like
it used to be my favorite. I didn't used to like it up until it got to Batman and Robin and Batman Inc.
mhm.
Um, RIP, I didn't understand, but then I read the Black Case book and I started to understand the lore, and I now I really I like it more and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um, we got Scott Snyder, Tom King's run is pretty controversial.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like it gets into filler. It's
yeah,
crazy how like he starts off and he's like cooking and he has like such great story arcs at the
kind of
beginning.
does. Yeah, I will admit. Yeah,
Yeah, and then it just becomes like filler. It becomes anime filler for like
yeah, it's
every other arc.
yeah, yeah. His run was weird. I mean, I think the best thing to come out of
Yeah.
his run was his. You know what the best thing to come out of his run? It's
Mm-hmm.
two things. I did like Wars of Jokes and Riddles,
Yeah.
mainly because of the art is amazing in that Clayman, I believe. The
Yes,
art.
Clayman, great artist.
It was Clayman and Michael Janin.
I
Jan-
believe so.
yeah.
That was kind of a thing of his run that got really annoying was the inconsistency of like the artist, where they
Hmm.
never had a set artist that whole his whole run. He kept like he never
I
yeah.
didn't like that. It
Well,
depends depending on the artist, but there was some artists that it's later where I just wasn't too into it. I didn't mind that because it was a little bit different than the Scott Snyder. Because even though I like Greg Capullo,
yeah.
There's certain things that Grant Capullo can't draw.
Yeah, he is from the 90s. He's
Yeah,
from
there's things
the
like those. I remember
yeah.
this in particular. There was like in Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder's run. It was like the first Joker arc,
Mm-hmm.
Death of the Family.
Death of
And
the
then I
Family.
remember looking at there was this creepy image. It was supposed to be creepy image of these bodies sewn together, and they were supposed to make a quilt or something, or some sort of a map or some sort of a drawing. But it was like it's supposed to be like this really like gruesome, gory image, and I didn't know what I was looking at. And I was like, "What is this? Oh, this is supposed to be bodies all stitched
Yeah.
together." And I
Yeah.
was like, "You, I think you remember. You had to remember."
Yes, I
Yeah,
do. I do.
yeah. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, oh, he's a good artist, but there's some things that he just can't really pull off. But he's a phenomenal artist. Let me not
Yeah, he
I
is.
got
He's
mad respect for the guy.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
some
yeah, I'm reading Graham Morrison's of his run right now.
yeah,
Very very
definitely.
spanning. Yeah. And I like
Yeah.
to what do you are you reading anything in particular right now, like comic book wise or
Oh yeah. I literally just finished like a couple hours ago Grant's run of
you're
seven.
also reading Grant?
Yeah, I love Grant. I think
Yeah, we like Grant.
Grant's the homie. Yeah, they're like one of the best comic book writers, like my favorite. I mean, I grew up with them, but I just
Hmm.
finished Seven Soldiers of Victory.
I have the so you finished the whole run?
I finished the whole run.
Okay, I only have the first volume. I'm not a big fan only because I'm not. I gotta finish it. I have it.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not a big fan, big fan of his in that I'll read anything that he does. Like I've read his Flex Mentallo. I kind of like that.
That one's good, yeah.
Um,
That
it's
one's
kind of
weird.
it's a big fever dream featuring
Yeah,
Frank Quietly
yeah, great
artwork.
artist.
But I
Hmm.
liked We Three. Like I liked
Man.
his Green Lantern run.
Oh
I like a lot
yeah,
of his Superman.
like All Star and Superman and the Elite that just came out, right?
I'm not a big fan of Superman in the Elite, but I did like his and people crap on it. But I did like his Action Comics New 52 run.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a great one. I think we might see some of that influence maybe in the James Gunn stuff.
I think so. One thing
Yeah.
I would like to see, I mean, I know we want to talk about Aquaman, but one
Yeah.
thing I would
Yeah, yeah.
so
We'll get there. We'll get there.
yeah, so let's however you want to do it, because I definitely want to dig into that. I want to put a pin in that.
Oh, we could start on Aquaman.
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
start
yeah.
on yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, we'll do that in a second. I was just gonna say for Grant, it's a travesty that We Three has not been adapted into a movie.
It will. It I
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
it will. Um, it's inevitable. I'm pretty sure multiple production companies have tried to tackle it. I'm
yeah.
not quite sure why it hasn't crossed, but it is something that I predict that we'll see in the next 5 or so years because
Okay.
it's IP. It's not superhero-y. It's cute, but it's violent. It's
Yeah,
sad. And,
yeah,
and it's also what's cool about that piece of IP is that you can easily take that and take that the core of that concept and build a bigger story around it
yeah. Yeah,
easily.
yeah. If anyone doesn't know, We Three is a comic about three animals, a bunny, a cat, and a dog, and they get experimented on into like weapons
Cyborgs.
cyborgs. Yeah, weapons of mass destruction, but they're cute and cuddly still. And they have like
Too cuddly.
it's like Homeward Bound.
It's like Homeward Bound, but and also and this is kind of like Grant Morrison's style is that they kind of speak monosyllabically and all three of them have their own speech patterns. So dog will be like go home food like
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not talking and then the cat is always telling people that they stink. Stinks.
yeah.
Stink.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's a
amazing.
weird comic. Oh, but it is so excellently drawn.
Hmm.
It's the art by Frank Quiley in that is amazing. I think he's one of the best artists in the game.
Yeah, it really is, really is. Yeah. But yeah, that's a recommendation that we'll throw out because
Absolutely.
Grant.
I'd recommend that. Have you read his Green Lantern?
No, it was like, yeah, that came out like a kind of like,
Mhm.
was it like a couple years ago now, like
Probably came out
2019?
in like 2021 or 22.
Yeah, I think I
Probably
was
20.
like, I think after, because that was after Doomsday Clock, and
Mhm.
whenever I was like taking a break from the DC universe.
Yeah, see, it's a perfect place. After Doomsday Clock, it was a perfect place because Doomsday Clock was so delayed and,
Yes.
and
Oh,
it was so kind of like because they had set it up back in Rebirth.
2016. Yeah, 2016.
Dang, yeah, they did.
And
And the reason why I remember is because they did Rebirth the same year as they did. That was a big year for DC because that was the year they did Batman v Superman.
yep. Yeah.
And that and because I know Jeff Johns was kind of involved in the DCEU at the time because he
Correct.
on Wonder Woman and all that. But I remember because DC Rebirth that issue, and that's an amazing issue, by the
It
way. That
is. It
is
is.
an
It's great.
amazing single issue, and I have the hardcover for it. Do you have the single issue, or do you have the
I
hardcover?
have the single issue. That's like the hook to get readers back in. They're like, we
Yeah,
know we know you love this shit. Well, here's the
yeah.
Watchmen characters.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
I got the hardcover. And the hardcover to me is like it's like worth the read. It's kind of like it's sort of reminds me of like Killing Joke. Like Killing Joke is a relatively quick read,
yeah.
but something about having that hardcover. But I remember that year as it being 2016 because in Doomsday Clock, Wally West emerges from the Speed Force to communicate to Bruce,
Hmm.
similar to how Barry Allen emerges from the Speed
Mm.
Force in Batman v Superman to communicate to him in that film.
That's interesting. Maybe it was like synergy or something. They're
I
just
think
like,
so. I
yeah,
think yeah. I don't think that that was necessarily and it was in the cave in both instances. I don't think that was necessarily that big of a coincidence.
yeah. That's wild. That's funny when we're looking back now because it's like I think like 2016 was like that was the year DC was either gonna make or break
Yeah, it was.
everything. And I guess yeah, I guess we'll
That
we're
was yeah, I would say that was the year. That was a big year because I think that kind of that year and Wonder Woman obviously did a pretty good job with. I like that movie. I don't
yeah,
love it the
no.
following year, but that was the year that both DC and Marvel were up to bat with a big movie,
Yep.
and one fumbled and the other one did not.
Yep. Civil
And
War.
yeah, and then yeah, so because Civil War because Civil War came out with Spider-Man.
Yep. Yeah.
And, and as big as we thought that Batman v Superman was with that hype, because I remember, do you remember looking at I remember looking at the billboards and seeing the billboards while driving. I was driving Lyft at that time, I believe. And I remember driving and seeing those really cool billboards with the Batman v Superman logo and them looking at each other. And there was one billboard with Batman. You see Batman's back and he's about to punch Superman.
Oh
And
yeah, that
like
was a good one.
it has some cool marketing. And I'm like, yo, like I'm ready. And then the movie came out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I was ready for that movie since I Am Legend when it had a Batman versus Superman poster in that for some reason. To like,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll take it a
And,
step further. I was ready for that movie since we saw them team up in World's Finest. The
oh,
Bruce Timm.
that's a
That's
that's yeah, that's like the better version of BVS.
the best. Is the yeah. That's the better version. And even I mean, my because my first. So I mostly read Spider-Man when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
I because as a kid, you didn't. I mean, your mom was only going to buy you one or two books.
Yeah.
So
Spider-Man or
so
Batman?
yeah. So the book that I bought and I kept buying because when I got into comics in 2000 was Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, same.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was
Yeah, it
great.
was good.
Uh,
Yeah, that was the influential. That was like our Watchmen or something.
yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, I mean, it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have the MCU as it is today. But nonetheless, this is DC talk.
Yes,
But
yeah, yeah.
the other book that I started to get just because I love the logo for it, and that was Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness'
Oh,
Batman, or it was called Superman slash Batman,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Public Enemies.
Yep. That
With
was
that
mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the Ed Guinness artwork, and they were all big. Every superhero was yoked in his books, man,
Yeah,
and he had that art
huge.
style. So Batman and Superman, like I mean, and I hope to see it in the James. I hope they do it right in the James Gunn verse, whatever the DCU.
DCU. Yep.
But yeah, so 2016 was, and then
Yeah.
Deadpool came out and knocked it out the park, and
Yeah.
you know,
Oh well. Yeah, I guess we're kind of like I guess that leads us into to this next topic because it's like this is kind of like a post-mortem kind of for the DCEU, which is
mhm.
now over for real this time.
For real.
For real, for real,
Mm.
it's done. Like the Flash was like they were like, "Oh, this is the ending," and then like, "Oh, we have two more movies to come out." But this is like the last movie that's in continuity in that universe. So I guess just going into it, what did you think? What were your thoughts?
I mean, I went into it with low expectations. I took my mom. My mom loves Jason Momoa, so I would just went in to just have a good time, and I did. I thought it was pretty fun. I liked and I'm not the only person to say this, but I liked the the dynamic between Jason Momoa and or the Aquaman and his brother Orm.
Mm-hmm.
So that I thought it was ironic that Orm resembled Aquaman that I knew from the comic books. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wait, this is weird. He
Hmm.
seems like Aquaman. Huh? Is this on purpose?
I think so.
Um,
Yeah,
you know,
because he's like
but
a
I
blonde dude. Yeah.
right. And he had the same like kind of stoicism and all that. I mean, if you put him in an orange suit instead of that black suit, that is actually Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Jason Momoa was pretty good. I mean, I don't I'm for that this whole bro Aquaman thing that
Yeah.
he's gonna do, even though we're not gonna see it ever again.
No.
thought it was just fun. I knew what I was getting into. You had like the rock and roll music in the beginning with him fighting the pirates.
That was cool.
Um, I thought the plot of the whole, I know we're gonna get into it, but the whole Black Manta stuff,
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to work. And I mean, the movie is a cartoon. The movie is
Yeah.
it's a big cartoon. The CGI in parts look good. In some parts, it didn't look so good. As
Yeah.
kids in the theater, I think they liked it. I think it's a decent follow up, just
Mhm.
a decent follow up to the first one. Do I think it's better than the first one? In some ways, yes. In
Okay.
some ways, no. Mhm.
Because yeah, like for me, it was just like I love that first movie a lot. I think that's, I mean, it
Okay.
has like some faults, but I think it's like a pretty like solid movie. Like that's like that was like the excuse me the Christmas movie of like 2018 where it's like general audience people just like took to it. They're like, and it was really cool because it's like Aquaman is like has just been the butt of every single like superhero joke for the last like 40 years. And like no one like liked Aquaman. They're always like he talks to fish, and it's like
I did.
yeah, yeah, I did too, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I got that, but because I grew up with the Bruce Timm verse, and you
Hmm.
saw, because to me that's still the best iteration of Aquaman in media
Yeah,
is
Justice
that,
League.
yeah, is Justice League, and that version of Aquaman where he cuts off his own hand
That's
to
cool.
save his son. Thought that was the most gangster-ish that I've ever seen in, like, it's still awesome. I actually
Yeah.
showed that scene to my mom after the
Oh
movie
man.
because it
That
was,
that. Hmm.
yeah. But go ahead.
No, I said that scene he goes hard. That's a hard scene because it's like this is a kids cartoon more or less.
Yes.
Like it was white. It was like TV Y7, but it's like
Yeah.
he freaking cuts off his hand to save
Yeah,
his
and he
son.
wrapped it
Like
in the red, and it's cool because they know what they're doing. They wrapped it in a red when he cut his hand off in a red cloth.
yeah, they were
It's to
smart.
hide the blood, I guess.
Great cartoon. I love that
Great
cartoon.
cartoon, and he lets his brother die in part two.
Hmm.
Remember when his brother was about to fall in the
And
cavern, and he ends
mhm.
up grabbing the trident. I think this belongs to me, and he lets his
Oh
brother
yeah.
die.
He's cold. He's like a cold dude.
Yes.
Yeah, in that cartoon. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
fuck around.
Yeah. So I
Hmm.
mean, I guess this is kind of like a more bro version.
Yeah.
I think most people, look, man, most people who come, if you come to the movie, you just want to have a decent time,
Yeah.
have a good time. You want to get your popcorn. I wouldn't recommend, I guess, spending full price on it. I wouldn't, like, if
No.
you have a big family, because I know going to the movies is tough. It can be
Yeah.
tough on families, especially, and this was around Christmas time as well. That when it came out, I mean, probably could wait for streaming, but if it's just you and a friend, and
Mhm.
maybe you got a free ticket or something like that, then it could be maybe worth it. I don't think it's a waste of time.
No, yeah, that's I guess because we were talking about that a couple days ago where some of these like because people are like, oh, is super movie or superhero movies dead or people getting fatigued, and it's like I don't think necessarily that. I think it's like audiences, they're not gonna go to a superhero movie just because it's a superhero movie. Like
Right.
the novelty of like superhero movies, it's great. Like let's go see it. Like if it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie. People aren't gonna see it. Like so it's like 'cause some of these movies that have come out and like, I mean, we're comic book fans. We love this stuff, but like some
We
of
would
them,
like to.
yeah, I would like to, yeah, I would like to
Like
go
to
to
like it.
would like to
No,
go
I
to
mean, I think
yeah.
this is probably, look, 2023 is going to go down in the as the worst year in superhero movie history. Even though we had an amazing film with Across the Spider Verse,
Spider-Verse.
and even though I don't think it was amazing, but I think that Guardians 3 was pretty good.
Hmm.
Ant-Man was a horrible way to
Phase 5.
start Phase 5.
Yeah.
And then Shazam, it's just like, wow, like two big stinkers in a row. And not just that, but here's the other problem right now. And I think Deadpool 2, no, not Deadpool 2, Deadpool 3, yeah, is going to fix this.
Okay.
Even though they're kind of doing something a little, they're bringing back Hugh Jackman. It's like, all right,
Right,
we'll
yeah.
see how they do it. But
Uh-huh.
even then, I think I don't think anybody asked for Ant-Man 3.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think so. Like,
Yeah. I
uh,
don't think anybody asked for a Shazam 2.
hmm yeah.
But now, were people asking for a Hispanic-led superhero movie? I think so. I think there's a need for that.
Hmm.
Now, did it need to be Blue Beetle? No.
Okay.
Who that character could have been? It could have easily been Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, Kyle's Hispanic. People forget.
You
Kyle
could have,
Rayner's Hispanic.
matter of fact, tell me if I'm wrong. Matter of fact, you could have cast that same actor as Kyle Rayner, and it would have made sense because that actor is probably in his like early 20s, maybe
Yeah.
late teens, early 20s. You could have casted him, and let's say if the DCEU went up for a lot longer, he could have, and you could have like you could have brought in like John Stewart, Green Lantern, and Hal Jordan
Yeah.
if you wanted to,
Yeah.
but I don't think people were asking for a Blue Beetle movie.
Right. Because it's like I love Blue Beetle. Like you love Blue Beetle. Like,
I
but
don't love Blue Beetle.
oh, okay. All right.
I don't,
Sorry.
but I mean, I
Like, yeah.
I like Blue Beetle. Like,
Uh,
here's what I would say, right?
you like Booster and Gold.
I don't really like but it
Yeah.
depends on the context. You have to put like it's like I like Booster Gold in I like them in Justice League Unlimited, but because they put him in something already pre-established and he was interacting with those characters.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle doesn't have any. How did they introduce? Do you remember how they introduced that version, the Jamie Reyes version of Blue Beetle in the cartoons? Do you remember his first
Yeah.
appearance?
In like animation, right?
Yes.
It was Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
episode.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I love you. We already know we love Batman. You put this new character in it. Oh, and then we get to see how cool this character was through Batman. So my whole thing is, and look, I think the director of Blue Beetle did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the movie felt authentic,
Yeah.
and I like what he was doing.
Yeah.
However, he got some flack for that Batman is fascist
Oh
state.
yeah, that was crazy because it's like I mean, but it's like he is a fascist. Like Frank Miller's like Dark Knight Returns. He's like that's
That
like
version,
yeah.
but here's
Oh,
my
in
point.
general, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but my point is just that the movie had they put Ben Affleck's Batman in Blue Beetle
Mhm.
in there in some capacity, the
Mhm.
movie would have did a lot better.
Yeah, yeah. Just like throw Batman in there. I
Yeah,
mean, that would make more sense than like Batman was gonna cameo in Aquaman for
yeah,
like
it does because Aquaman was already a billion dollar property. It didn't it? Aquaman doesn't really need Batman in it.
no,
The first
no,
one didn't have it. It didn't have it in it, right?
no.
You could have put in maybe Cyborg or and then maybe another character, but a character like Blue Beetle, Bruce Wayne visiting,
Yeah. Well,
and
mhm.
and it will fit in. Tell me if I'm wrong. It will fit in more because Blue Beetle had OMAC.
Yep.
In OMAC in the comics, the whole OMAC being the whole one man army.
Yeah,
For,
Batman creates him.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you could have. So it would have made a lot of sense if he was, and you have the whole corporate takeover thing. You could have had Bruce involved in that
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, he could have been like the Tony Stark to his Spider-Man.
Yeah, it would have been
But
cool.
yeah,
Um, but
it's
but
mhm.
but yeah, but I was just saying that this year just hasn't, and the Marvels came out, just hasn't been a good year. So I will say, I think Aquaman, it's an unfortunate send off to the DCEU. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel it, on how it ended on that joke with the
Oh
bug.
yeah, that was like full on spoilers, but it's like
Yeah.
that was like the cringiest like last scene I've seen in a while, especially in a comic book movie where Aquaman is addressing the world at the United Nations or whatever, and he does like a what does he do like a yell or something to like
He says
and
Yahoo.
yeah, he does like
That's one of his lines.
that's like that felt like out of an SNL skit or like someone parodying like
That is, but the thing about it is, and that's the unfortunate. It's
uh,
same with Love and Thunder, right? It's like these
yeah.
characters
Ooh.
are playing SNL versions of themselves. It was kind of a little bit like that in Spider-Man No Way Home, a little bit.
Yeah, a little, yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, so these characters are lacking that gravitas of their first appearances because I thought that Jason Momoa was really, especially in the Snyder version, was really cool and had
Yeah.
some layers, and it's like, okay, wow, we want to know more about this guy, and then he just drinks Guinness and watches football with his dad, I guess.
He's just hanging around and he's like a
Yeah,
That
You
was
know.
so weird where he's like, I got a job now. It's like, no, dude, you're the king of like half of the world. That's not like a job. That's like I don't know, like you're like role, you're like a king now. That's like it's not
Hmm.
a job, yeah. How does he even find time to go home? That's like crazy. I was
It's
like,
I don't know. Like it's
it
just
was
weird.
it was
I don't
weird.
want to. I don't
Yeah,
want to dig into the whole Amber Heard thing. I mean, she's
yeah,
in some capacity, and
yeah,
she was fine, I guess.
yeah. I was gonna ask you
Sorry.
about because it's like I think he's like a really great character in the comics, like in Justice, like Alex Ross Justice, or like Infinite Crisis, like Manta. Manta's
Well,
like a great villain in the comics, and like I felt like it got some of that across in the movie. Like Manta came off really well.
yeah. This version of Mansa, even though he seems cool and he's played by a really great actor, he doesn't have any teeth. There's a
Yeah.
part in the movie where a Manta attacks a family member of Aquaman, and nothing happens
He
really.
doesn't die. He does like a
Like
fake death.
it's like a pump fake. Because I was like, oh, something's gonna happen. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
some stakes.
some fake. Yeah, exactly. And then it just kind of didn't because we got to make the audience feel good.
Yeah, it was like I wonder if like Tamora Morrison, or was it Arthur Curry? I wonder if Arthur Curry died in some cut of the movie, but like, because every
Arthur Curry? Oh, I don't think so.
not Ar what's his dad's name? Arthur. It's not
Thomas Curry.
Thomas Curry, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, like I wonder if he died in some version or
I think
whatever.
so.
Yeah, because it's like,
I heard that the baby died.
yeah, that was like,
I heard that. You
yeah,
know.
because it's like that's a big thing. I guess fans online were like, is the baby gonna die? Because
Yeah, that's a big storyline in the comics. Yeah,
yeah, Arthur Jr. dies.
the baby. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe there was a version of that because I heard people walked out of of some of the
Mhm.
screenings.
Yeah, I don't think killing off like a baby would be good for the general audience members.
I don't think so either.
No, yeah, that's too much.
This is not necessarily a spoiler because I'm talking about something that doesn't happen, but and we just kind of alluded to this earlier. You want to know what my biggest disappointment in the movie, something
Mhm.
that didn't happen that should have happened.
Mhm.
He didn't get his hand chopped off.
No, yeah, it's like I think
What?
yeah, it's like that's a huge thing because it's like it could be like a hook hand or a
It could be a hook hand.
water hand.
It could be a water hand.
Uh,
Like how he didn't get his hand chopped off?
yeah, that was weird. I really like I really wanted that because that's like a thing. That's like a cool character thing of Aquaman. He's
Man,
yeah
if he would have got his hand chopped off, here's the scene. I just came up with the scene.
yeah.
If
There
he
you go.
got his hand chopped off by Black Manta and he is in pain, and Black Manta's about to, I don't know what he was about to, I forget, like, I don't know, unite the blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
and
the
start
Dark Trident, whatever the fuck.
right in,
That
soul,
story. Yeah, that was a
whatever
great
he was
story.
about to do in that movie. I mean, look, the plot of this movie is not very good. Is very convoluted. Even though I saw this relatively recently, I kind of just watch it. It's a plot and they got to do stuff, whatever. But back to what I was saying, what they could have easily done was after his hand got chopped off and he's trying to, he's like in pain, like, and he needs to throw the spear or something. But maybe his other hand is doing something.
Mhm.
And Mira comes
Yeah,
and constructs a hand out of water for him.
she
That would
could,
have been the coolest thing.
and
Even the Amber Heard haters couldn't
yeah,
be on a scene like that.
yeah, yeah, because it's like like she could control water, but it's like I'm like God, it's like you get. It felt like this movie. It's like there's like, and it wasn't. I don't think it was bad, but it was like it was so close to being like at least like a good movie or a
Yeah, it
memorable.
was. It was
Like,
almost there. Like it had some of the components. I mean, the thing about it is that like, look, man, this is Aquaman. Does Aquaman's lore and I think ultimately that's why the first movie is probably better overall because they threw everything against the wall because they probably thought that they wouldn't have got a sequel. That's why there's so much in that movie.
they took risks.
Yeah, it's like there was a lot in it. They threw there's so much stuff that happens in characters and the big war at the end. Like there's a lot to it. Like that movie feels a lot more epic than this one.
Yeah, yeah, it
I
really.
just like just similar to Shazam 2. It's just like I don't like some move just because a movie was successful or semi-successful doesn't warrant a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got two Aquaman movies in the DCEU, but not one solo Batman movie. We didn't get a Man of Steel sequel. We didn't get a Justice League sequel.
Yeah.
We didn't get a Teen Titans movie. Back when I had HBO Max, I was watching old episodes of Teen Titans. Teen
Yeah.
Titans came out. I just don't understand. I just don't get Warner Brothers. I don't
Yeah. No,
get it.
I don't
They
think they do.
what's up?
I don't think even Warner Brothers understands what they're doing.
They don't bro. If you have HBO Max,
Yeah.
just go on HBO Max and look at what they have and look at like what like
Yeah.
the stuff on Cartoon Network and what have you, like the stuff they have the rights to and they could do anytime. It's like I was watching Teen Titans and I'm like, yo, this is the blueprint. It's all there. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about the original Teen Titans people, not that Teen Titans Go
Oh,
crap.
yeah, yeah.
You
Like
know,
that in Justice League, I'm like, you guys
yeah,
have like the
it's all
blueprint.
there.
It's all there. They just like, but like they don't care. They just, oh, I don't know.
But my point is that they didn't do even a I have to brighten my screen a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
They never did anything. I mean, they did the Teen Titans on the TV, but
Right, sure.
I mean, look, Harry Potter has came and went.
Mhm.
We need another teen driven show where the characters can grow up and we get to see how they Teen Titans, that was your next Harry
Yeah,
Potter.
yeah.
It
I,
was there.
yeah. Further point that DC is just like the Knicks of
Yes.
comic books or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
they're just yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
guess
I don't know. I just in regards to the Aquaman movie, I
yeah,
just
that
I'm just personally not super interested in the Aquaman world.
yeah,
This is the third time you've seen an underwater world. Well, no, scratch that. The fourth time in like 5 years.
yeah. Avatar.
Aquaman, we Aquaman,
Mhm.
Wakanda Forever that did their own version. Kind of, sort of, Avatar a little bit.
Yeah,
A little bit. I mean, they weren't underwater, but there was a lot of aquaticness. And in this one,
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I don't know. That's like that, I guess like people are like, all right, like too much underwater stuff for me. I'm not seeing another underwater movie. And then
yeah.
HBO's like, let's revive Waterworld.
Oh boy, no, no.
Probably like Warner Brothers is crazy, yeah. But yeah, I guess last thoughts on Aquaman before we move on to the
I
next.
mean, is this a movie that I will ever? I don't think besides like Spider-Verse or maybe Guardians 3. This included is probably not a movie I'm going to revisit in any time soon.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I look. I mean, I applaud the people who made it. I applaud Jason Momoa. I think that good for him being able to make this character popular. He look, man. He this is still $1 billion franchise. I guess technically because the first one did so well.
Yeah.
James Wan did his thing.
Mhm.
I just think that 5 years or that I just think that was too big of a gap. I think they should have capitalized on making an Aquaman 2 a lot sooner.
Yeah, because it was successful. It was really successful when it first came out that first
But
year.
we got to make a Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie.
Kids like Harley Quinn. Kids
Yeah,
love
they like
Harley
Harley Quinn, right? Yeah,
love
just
her. Yeah, she's like everyone's like favorite cosplay and hot topic.
right, right. But we're not gonna make the
Yeah,
right movie, but just a movie, I guess.
yeah. It's Warner. I don't know Warner Brothers does. But I guess we'll like. I guess this is the last DCEU movie.
Mhm.
EU movie.
EU,
EU. Yeah.
or as I like to say, the DCPU,
EU.
because most of these movies stink.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, no, that's a good one.
Right. Look, it was that joke was right there.
No, no, no. It was good. But yeah, I guess this was his last time as Aquaman, as he keeps implying Momoa because he might be Lobo. Well, no one knows. Who knows? That'd be weird.
Look, man, if he's gonna be Lobo, he look because he I'm not gonna body shame my man Jason Momoa, but he was low key not trying to like he had the bodysuit on and blah 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 blah. As long if he's committed to doing Lobo and doing it, in really going there, then fine. But not if you're just going to kind of want to take the shortcut. And it's not even necessarily about like just the
Mhm.
working out aspect of it, but more so just if we're being honest here, Gene,
Yeah.
he was not, and this wasn't a problem for him. He wasn't really Aquaman.
Okay.
He didn't. he played Aquaman because the movie told us it was Aquaman,
Mhm.
but he wasn't really Aquaman. And that's a big problem with a lot of this the DC, like the Ezra Miller was not playing Barry Allen.
Hmm.
No version of Barry Allen that you read in a comic book or that
Yeah,
you've seen on a cartoon or what have you acted like Ezra Miller.
right. 'Cause, yeah,
At
they,
least, yeah, at least when you watched, besides like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which those characters were so obscure.
yeah.
But I mean, but the Flash is pretty iconic. It's in the DC iconography. So is Aquaman, right?
Mhm.
But for the most part, when you watch the for the most part, those characters or those actors acted like their comic book counterpart.
Yeah,
That's why we love them. And I hope that he's able to. You asked him about Lobo, correct? I'm assuming.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Um, I think that he absolutely has what it takes to play with Lobo, but I think he got to come a bit harder
Yeah,
uh, than what he was doing with Aquaman. Not that he didn't play Aquaman. Not that I wasn't entertained by it. I just in this new era of DC, I want my DC characters to act like the DC characters.
yeah. Like the prime versions.
Yes.
Don't kill people. Don't snap necks. Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's like
yeah,
it's just like, oh man, I don't want to go back, but
yeah. No, no.
oh
We don't go.
man, we
Yeah.
got a Batman who looks just like Batman. He looks just straight out the comic book. And then he's murdering. It's like, oh man, you darn it. Now we gotta reboot it again.
Mhm. I
We
guess.
gotta reboot.
Yeah.
Press the reboot button.
And that's what
Even though I
Netflix
love,
is.
even though I really do love, and then maybe another podcast we could talk about it, but I
Mhm.
really love Ben Affleck, and I like that iteration of the character.
I like him. I don't like him killing people.
Yeah,
I guess that gets us into the last topic of
yeah.
the dawn of the new DCU.
Hmm.
And we're DC fans, and like, yeah, I guess we talked about it's like DC fans, you just constantly being disappointed.
Yeah.
Um, but like, are you hopeful? Are you like kind of like in James Gunn we trust? What are your thoughts?
I mean, if he's doing the deep work, I mean, look, man, like James Gunn, when I look at James, I have to be hopeful. I have to be optimistic because when I look at James Gunn and when he handles superhero material, not just the stuff based on a comic book, but he did Super and he was also a producer on Brightburn. I like, even though Brightburn is not a really that good of a movie, I still like Brightburn quite a bit.
Hmm.
Um, he hasn't done Super was really good, and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are all either great or good, and the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. I mean, he hasn't done a bad superhero project. That he really hasn't. So he's now given the most like one of the most iconic superheroes in Superman. So
In the
I'm
world,
hopeful. What's
it's
up?
like the most like recognizable symbol in the world, like the S.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I'm hopeful. I am curious as to see as to which version of Superman that he wants to portray. I'm gonna turn this light as well.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
darn
yep.
daylight
Oh
saving.
boy. So, yeah. We talked about Grant Morrison, and he did the All Star, and I think that what I hope is I hope that we're looking at not just influences of All Star Superman, but I would say just to make it different than any other on screen version of Superman. I don't want this version of Superman to be able to fly
Hmm.
in the first movie. I
Yeah.
want to I want to see a Superman who is the fast and the speeding bullet, can more powerful than a locomotive and can leap tall buildings in a single bound. I want to see that leap. I want to see a Superman who maybe as the movie progresses he's able to fly, but I want to see Golden Age. I want to see that version of Superman. I want to see even the new 52 when he's wearing the jeans and the Timberland in those boots. I think I want to see something like that just because visually it's different than something that we've seen before cinematically.
Yeah, no, that would be really interesting too, because it's like, yeah, that's your man. Like he's just like at the ground. He's almost like a street level hero too, because it's
Hmm.
like, his powers are a little like subset, but also like the threats and villains. Like he's not like stopping, like crisis level events. He's like, kind of like stopping a lot of like rampant issues in like the world in like terms of like gangsters or like people that are like I remember like some of those early action comics, he's stopping like landlords from like kicking people
Yeah,
out.
yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, and like wife beaters and like
Yeah.
see just yeah, like, maybe, and maybe we can even see, there was that really critically acclaimed book, Superman versus the Klan.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
you see a Superman who's going up against neo-Nazis or something
Hmm.
like that, like a Superman who tackles hate crime. And
Yeah.
I don't think that needs to be, I don't think that needs to be the plot of the whole movie, but I think that, in the, maybe in the first kind of half or something like that, you just kind of see as Superman is doing these deeds, is
Hmm.
like we're seeing him kind of attack, kind of not real worldy in the way that Man of Steel and
Right.
BVS did it, but just kind of different types of conflicts that we haven't seen him
Yeah.
tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree because it's like getting kind of like philosophical. The power of like Superman is like not like he's like a god. It's like he's a human, he's a god that's still a human. Like at the end of the day, he's human. And like Superman is like people like I think people like Superman because it's like he's good. Like there's nothing like and I like Zack Snyder, but like it's always like, well, what if people mistrust Superman? What if like Superman
Yeah.
goes down the wrong path? And it's like he would never do that because he's Superman. It's just like and that's what people love him. And I'd love to see him like helping people. And it's just like it's a good like morality sort of tale. And like if there was like a Superman, he would just like go out of his way to help as many people as he can. Like if it's a cat out of a tree, if it's like someone has a flat tire, he would just try to help them if that
Yeah, he's kind of, to me, Superman is kind of akin to your favorite sports star, in
okay.
that your favorite, right, your favorite sports star, you see, it's like when you hear a story of, like, rest in peace. It's like when you hear a story about Kobe, like helping out a family, during Thanksgiving or something like that, or you hear a story about, LeBron doing something, like it's kind of like that. And
Yeah.
sure, with any sports figure, you're gonna have people who criticize, but for the most part, there are certain sports figures that a lot of people in, like, like Steph Curry, or I don't want to make this about sports, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have
All
those
right.
figures that people just kind of, most people just kind of genuinely love, like a Keanu Reeves or something like that.
Michael
So
Jordan.
yeah, I mean, Michael Jordan, like, some people like Michael Jordan, but
Yeah.
yeah, but you kind of get it, like that's kind of in, like, what is life like for that guy, and
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, because it's like
he's a tough character to write. And look, man,
he's
he's a tough character
hard.
to write for. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why people more so, I think it's a little bit easier to deconstruct that character. It's easier to, it's funner to, I guess, in some ways, to make a character like that evil. I mean, look at Invincible, look at
Yeah.
Injustice, look at
Yeah.
uh,
But
the boys.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so
That's
even BVS. I mean, BVS was all with Justice League. Not to go back to it,
yeah,
leading to an evil Superman. Even in
yeah,
Superman, he's evil.
yeah,
So even in the Snyder cut. So
yeah.
I, you know,
That
I'm hopeful, and that James Gunn is going to give us a fresh take on his character. I like
yeah.
the casting. I think the
Mhm.
casting of Lois is perfect. I think the casting of Jimmy is perfect. And
Luthor is confirmed as what's his name from who's the Beast in First Class? Yeah.
I forget his name.
Yeah, no, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, it's like such great casting. And that's like 90% of a movie is just like casting.
Yeah, the casting is great, and I hope, from what I've heard, a lot of the special effects are going to be practical, which is going to be cool.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I think, and we'll see what the costume looks like. Let me ask you this though: we're
Okay.
talking about Superman, we're talking about a new take on Superman.
Mhm.
Do you think they're going to give, this is the biggest question? This is the question everybody wants to know. Do you think they're going to give Superman the trunks?
I think yes.
I
I
think
think
so.
I think it'll be slightly redesigned because it's like, like it's like it won't look like swimming trunks, but I think they will because that's just his thing. He just these costumes they're not based on anything practical. They're based on like what was it like wrestling costumes or like the original Superman's based on like lift like people in the circus or like lifters, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
based on something. And it's like it's like we're either gonna go like 100% commit to this as a concept, and these are comic book movies. They don't exist in the real world. If they did, like Batman would like twist his ankle on the first day,
All
you know.
right.
But it's like they don't.
Um,
Yeah, I think they will.
yeah. I think they will too. I think that, so you know how, like, when Frank quietly draws, in some of the drawings, how when he draws the trunks, like,
Yeah,
there's some artists, when they draw the trunks to resemble a little bit more of shorts than like booty shorts.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna go with the more shorts approach to the trunks.
Okay. Hmm.
I'm anticipating. I think that the costume is going to be very bright. I
Yeah.
think that the suit the the S is going to be. I think we're going to see a different kind of iteration of the S. I think we're going to get a shorter cape,
Hmm.
and I think that hopefully, like I said, I want to see him in those jeans, and I want to see him in the T-shirt if they do the Action Comics New 52 version. But yeah, I just would like this to be different and fresh, and I want this movie to get people excited to go see a Superman movie, and I, not just about superhero movies or DC movies, but just movies as a whole. Like I want this to. It's not going to do Barbie numbers probably, but
Yeah.
I would love for this Superman movie to garner enough hype to get people to come to the movies, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, you love movies. I love movies. That's what we do. But it's like theaters are important. Going to the movies is a great thing to do. It's good to like just not think about things in your life, not think about shit, and like just be somewhere else for 2 hours. Like not be on your phone and like
Right.
yeah.
And share and also to share, like this experience. I mean, I know with No Way Home, man, it's like I saw that movie so many times because when your friend didn't see No Way Home and you were like, yo, we gotta see this, and you was waiting for that moment when I mean, people seen the movie already. When Andrew Garfield steps out of the portal, man, it's like moments like that, I mean,
Yeah.
and I wasn't the biggest fan of Barbie, but Barbie, even seeing that movie, I mean, like, and seeing people's reactions and being in the
Oh,
theater, in the
take
a theater full of people for that film. Yeah, it's very important. And I think next year is gonna be good because there's not really any superhero movies coming out this next year.
mm,
The ones that are rated R.
yeah, it's a drought. Yeah,
I think it's a good thing.
it is.
Craven's rated R, Joker rated R, Deadpool rated R, and I'm looking forward to seeing, even though it looks bad,
Which
the Sony movie, Madam
oh,
Web.
Madam Web, yeah, it'll probably be bad, but they're willing to put out money to adapt like C-list Spider-Man villains. So
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing I like about, I mean, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, but all in all, I mean, I think it's going to be like a nice kind of and James going to even talk about this, like a nice kind of palette cleanser,
okay,
and hopefully we get some Batman casting, and
yeah,
I just hope that we see a version, and as they move along with the DCEU, in 2026 and beyond,
yeah,
I want to see the Justice League, and
yes,
I want to
yeah,
see Green Lantern. I wanted bright colors.
yeah.
The Legion of Doom. I want to see the Legion of Doom's Darth Vader like helmet looking headquarters
Headquarters, yeah.
rise from the swamp.
Mhm.
Why haven't we seen that image
I don't.
why haven't we seen that?
It's great, and it's like people remember it. Like it's in the Super Friends where it's like the announcers like, "Meanwhile, in the Legion of
Legion of
Doom."
Doom.
Yeah,
We haven't seen that. The Hall of
iconic.
Justice.
Hmm.
It's all there. It's like, Robin, and like
Yeah,
so it's all. I think that, James Gunn. I mean, look, there's it's a big weight on his shoulders, but I think that the positive about the DCEU being so piss poor
yeah,
is that he has a sure. There's some things that he might just kind of stray away from,
sure.
but he has a whole lot that he's able to work with because they haven't been tainted yet, because they haven't, we haven't seen a Legion of Doom yet. We
Yeah,
haven't seen the Justice League satellite yet. We haven't
yeah,
seen Red Tornado. We haven't seen, Mr. Terrific, and we haven't seen the Anti Monitor in movies. We've seen him on TV, and he kind of sucked.
right. Yeah,
Um,
they had like a $5 budget, even though they did the best they could with what they had. Yeah, bless their hearts. R.I.P. the Arrowverse. Um,
I was never into it like that. I mean,
yeah,
I watched Arrow, but even when I was watching Arrow, I'm like, Oliver Queen doesn't act like this.
yeah, yeah. It's they did the best they could with what they
Yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did watch Gotham Knights, and I didn't
Oh,
hate it. I didn't.
okay.
I
Yeah.
like I like Gotham Knights more than I like the Gotham TV show that Fox
Oh
did.
God. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was bad. You're the first person to to have
Well, the reason why I liked it more was because one thing that frustrated me, because I don't like prequels really that much because I'm like, okay, I don't care about. I like Gotham because of Batman. Gotham takes place before Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, and it's kind of like you're just kind of waiting. It's like,
yeah, it's like what's the point?
yeah. But Gotham Knights was interesting because it was in a post Batman is dead world, so you got to see the aftermath of that. Now, is a show good? No, it's not. But they gave us characters in. They gave us characters it's like Stephanie Brown
Yeah.
and
Um,
that one character that Snyder created. I forget, like Bluebird.
Bluebird. Yeah,
Um,
it's like Harper Row. Harper
Harper
Row is a
Rowe
great
and
character.
her
I love her.
brother. Yeah, yeah, the Harper Rowe. Like
Sure.
it gave us these characters that you wouldn't have kind of seen, and it was just kind of like okay, like the Joker's daughter, like it's
Yeah.
dumb, it's very tweeny,
Yeah.
but I was for it. I
Yeah.
would rather watch those characters than watch the characters in Gotham.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, because Gotham had some good actors, but not that good. But
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
um
Yeah, but I guess we'll see with Superman Legacy. We're kind of like winding down here.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I was
Yeah,
just,
look, man, I've been enjoying this. This.
oh
I
yeah.
like I said, I knew this was gonna go by quick.
Yeah, no, because we that's why I like having you on because it's like I only know a few other people like yourself that are like DC fans. Like
Yeah, like I was saying, there's certain with Marvel, you either like the movies and you like the maybe the movies and the comics, but
yeah,
and there's all I mean, there's like I guess different people who there's a certain deepness that you can go with the Marvel comics. Because even when I was a kid, I only liked the Ultimate Universe, and then I started getting into the main 616.
yeah,
But with DC, man, it's
yeah,
it can go pretty deep
like,
with DC.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like telling like a regular person like about like what Crisis on Infinite Earths is like. There's
Like
more.
what it means, yeah. Like it's there's quite a bit in a
Yeah,
post-crisis, pre-crisis,
the
you
Flash
know.
dies, another Flash takes his place. Supergirl dies, but then there's another version of
But then
Super.
there's another version of Super, yeah. And then it's like, and then but it's like, wait a minute, is this okay? Superman's origin was in 1985. Ah, but they did another one in 2002. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's his origin. Well, no, they actually did another one in 2008. So which one is the real origin? All of them. How is that
oh,
possible? Well, it's just,
yeah.
and then they did another origin in 2011 with where they rebooted it with the new 52. Okay, so that's now the new current version. No, because the post-crisis version
Yeah,
overlaps with this version because of Mr. Mixie split. Well, who was he? Well,
yeah, it's
you're you've already lost 90% of
yeah, but
and
yeah,
and but you all the stuff that I just said, you get what I was saying.
exactly. Yeah, I love these things to death, and I
I do
guess
too.
yeah, same. Yeah, I guess I'll just make my last point about Legacy. I hope it's good. I hope it does well. I don't know if it'll create like the next cinematic universe, but I think Superman is like such a great character because he's like everyone loves Superman on some level, and it's like Superman is great because it's like it's good for like people because it shows like people could be good. Like there just could be someone that's just good and just wants to help his
Mhm.
fellow person, and that's what I love about Superman so much. So that's why I hope it does well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have to, and I know they're doing like the whole authority and all that. I'm just curious to sort of see it, and also curious to see what the response of it will be. And I just hope that it's not. I just hope it's not. I don't cringy. I don't know, man. They haven't done a Superman movie in a while that the masses believed in since Christopher
It's very,
Reeve in 1978.
that's insane.
That is insane.
Almost 50 years.
Returns didn't do it. Men of Steel didn't do it. You can, I mean, at best you can say Smallville. You could say Smallville, and
Sure.
I guess you can say the Superman and Lois, but these are TV shows, and they're not,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
cinematically on a big screen, it's not hasn't been done yet, man.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. I guess like taking it back to sports, there's always a thing where it's like, oh, next season.
Yeah, exactly. Next reboot.
Yeah, next reboot. Well, we still have that, but I think I have a good feeling for this reboot.
I
So
did too. Yeah.
yeah, fingers crossed. I guess kind of closing out here.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you want to promote anything, where can people find you at or anything you want
Yeah,
to
they can find me on Instagram, JAY_Mitch92. I'm a writer. I don't really, post stuff every now and again.
Mhm.
Just trying to make it out here in Hollywood.
Yeah, no, you're great. Just to tell audiences, you were on like iCarly, that's so Raven.
Yeah,
You
iCarly and Raven. So yeah.
know,
So
some
um,
great stuff you have worked on, my friend.
yeah, I know, man. I appreciate that, and it's we love we people like you, and I know you're doing your thing, and we love what we do, and but it does come at a little bit of a cost, but it's worth it, and ultimately and that's why I try to give respect to the filmmakers of a movie like Aquaman or what have you, because ultimately we are trying to bring entertainment and bring you
Mhm.
know joy and to an escapism to to people. So
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is just is great always to to collaborate with people, even something, even on the podcast, even on something like this. So,
yeah.
but yeah, but I appreciate you having me on, man.
Oh yeah, no, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you as well, because
Yeah,
yeah, it's always great to have you, because it's just like, yeah, I don't know, especially for a comic book show, I don't know as many people that are
yeah, I bet.
deep deep in the
It's
lore.
a dying look, man. I don't want to say it, but
Oh,
it's yeah, man. Dang it.
well,
If you talk about anime, you can get more people on talking about anime and manga.
yeah, there we go. Yeah.
It's not
Like,
going to be me, but you
yeah.
can join them. You know.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, we'll leave on a positive note.
Yeah,
Superman Legacy, we're calling it now. It's going to be a good movie. It's
I think so.
going to be good. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good movie, and I think it's gonna get people excited, and especially after that long hiatus. So yeah, I'm definitely calling it as well.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we'll return to this episode when it comes out. Let's,
Yes, we will.
yeah,
Deal
definitely.
with the
Well,
movie.
yeah, let's definitely have you back. But yeah, thanks for your time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Just want to say, yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, G9892. You can find the Waffle Press at the Waffle Press on Twitter, at the Waffle Press Podcast on Instagram. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We've been professionally unprofessional. And that's how you do an outro.
Um,